Good evening to the best family on YouTube. Hey guys, welcome back. This is probably going to be one of those videos that people are going to love and people are going to hate, and people are going to hate to love it and people are going to love to hate it and everything in between, because I'm going to fly over the downtown kind of area of Playa del Carmen in Mexico. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people get upset if I fly over buildings or over traffic or over people, and then other people, they see my side of it and they just love it and whatever. So this is where you get to, I guess, express some vocal freedom and say what you want in the comments below, or give the like, the dislike, whatever you got to do anyway. But I just wanted to get that all out of the way, and now we can get to the video. So I want to start with something I never really talk about, but I sometimes comment it. I never talk about it in my videos. You saw that little spin I just did? That is actually why I'm confident when I fly. And I should have mentioned this a long time ago. I'm going to do a little instructional video one day. I've already got it on my phone. I just never got around to editing it. I normally cut that spin out, but a lot of my videos still had it, and people may not wonder. They may think, oh, I was just taking a look around. That is the key to success with the DJI or any other GPS-enabled drone, and I'll tell you why. Most of you may already know this, but if you lose connection on a DJI Phantom, it returns to home. It's you're used to. That's what it does, and the way it returns to home is by GPS, but it's not GPS alone. It relies on GPS and a properly calibrated compass. So what I'm doing there is I'd already calibrated the compass on the ground for this new location, which I know is controversial. A lot of people say do, a lot of people say don't. Whatever, we all do our own thing. This is my procedure. I calibrate at new locations. And when I take it off, I get up in the air and I spin in a circle, and sometimes I'll shimmy left and shimmy right. And what I'm actually doing is watching for that triangle on the bottom, my little indicator for my heading indicator. And why is that so important? Because if that's not facing the right way, that means my compass is off. If the compass is off, this will never return to home. So when people say I shouldn't fly above people and all this and that, I'm not too concerned because I've verified that my compass is accurate. And as long as your compass is accurate, it'll always return to home. You shouldn't get a fly off. And when I say you shouldn't and always in terms like that, there's nothing set in stone. Of course you could have a mechanical failure, but you could also have a mechanical failure on your pogo stick. The spring could snap, you could fall, break your leg, and it could fly the other way and hit somebody in the eye, and a whole lot of things could go wrong from that. Or you're pogo sticking down the sidewalk, you fall off, it flies into traffic, you scare a driver, they plow into a bus and kill 100 people. You know what I mean? Like chain reaction. So everything we do in life has inherent risks involved in it. And I don't find this to be any riskier than other people. Or other actions, sorry, than driving a car, riding a bike, hang gliding, flying an airplane, scuba diving. Everything has risks, and you've got to ask yourself: is the risk worth the reward? I personally put my personal info on the drone. I am prepared to face consequences if something goes wrong. Sorry that this is such a negative drone. It's just a negative drone video. Sorry, I've been going over some comments and people commenting on this and that, and I seem to have been getting a lot of negative comments lately on some of my videos of where and how I fly, and so I just want to throw it all out there. So this is a perfect, beautiful backdrop for you guys to sit and watch while I do that. So if we talk about the dangers of these drones, a flyaway, we've already addressed that. A flyaway is pretty well going to occur if there's a compass error, because then it can't find its way home. If it can't find magnetic north, it'll never get back to you. So I look at that little arrow, and a perfect example is, a lot of you may know I have a buddy that's on here, DJI Phantom pilot. I took him last year or earlier this year, I guess it would have been, to buy a Phantom off of Kijiji. I took him down there, we met the guy, he flew it in the parking lot, it was great. He brought it, we stopped, and that's where I filmed my Through the Smoke. If anyone watches my old video called Through the Smoke. At that exact time, he was flying his, and I was telling him about the triangle thing, the heading indicator. And sure enough, his seemed like it was going off course, so I kind of took over, looked at it, his iPad or whatever he had, the phone, whatever it was, and it was about 45 degrees off on the heading. So the arrow was facing in the wrong direction, not the opposite direction, but about 45 degrees off of the direction it was actually heading. It showed the aircraft being turned, say, when you were going forward. And so immediately I told him to land it, and because he was new to the hobby, that was his first one. And I was explaining to him that that's what goes wrong. That is probably what went wrong with my Cheerson that flew away, was that I never calibrated the compass, pilot error. That's why I never said bad about Cheerson. I never calibrated the compass from the day I bought it. But so that's where my confidence comes from. We're going back actually to other things that could go wrong. If you lose a propeller, these don't just fly or fall out of the sky. They spiral, and not fast, not slow, medium pace. Enough though, you're not knocking somebody out. If you lose a propeller and it spins down, it's gonna be okay, and it doesn't drop. It will fly a certain amount of a distance until it hits the ground. Eventually, it's going to hit the ground, but there's a bit of a distance before that happens. So flying over someone's head, unless you're 2 feet above them, is not actually a danger for them if you lose a prop, because it's not going to hit them. It's going to fly away sideways, and it'll spin. It spins. There's enough videos on YouTube. If you don't believe me, you can just go and watch them. Battery or other electronic failure, absolutely it could fall. But that's where we go with the anything could happen at any time in life. That's life. Life is a game of chance. It's a roll of the dice. Model aircraft have been around for a long time, and a perfect example of kind of a bias against drones is the fact that right next to the QEW on the Oakville-Burlington border at Burloak is the RC Model Airplane Club, right next to the highway. If you don't believe me, you can go ahead and look it up. It's in Bronte Provincial Park, and it is seriously probably 100 feet from the QEW, which is a big, whatever, 6 or 8 lane highway, 8 lane highway. Major highway here in Ontario, and it's no more than a couple 100 feet from the highway. Those aircraft often have less sophisticated controls and devices in them than these. They don't have anything to return to home if they lose signal. What do? They crash. So you know what I mean. It's kind of one of those things that since drones have become so popular, they've gained a negative image with a lot of people, or so it seems online. Because when I'm out in public, people love it. I can't fly this thing in public without people walking up to me and thinking how amazing it is and wanting to look at my iPad and this and that. And I enjoy showing them. I have no problem. I tell them about my YouTube channel. I'm sure a bunch of not a bunch, but a handful of the subscribers I have just are people that I've met in parks and wherever I've been. But another thing I wanted to mention, just for clarification on this video, I flew at 80 meters in this entire flight, which is actually part of Mexico's guidelines. I respected that. Excuse me. And I spoke to two separate English-speaking police officers before flying. Because there is a small aircraft. It's actually for flight scene tours that airport to the side of the city. I made a video about it last year. However, both officers said that airport wasn't busy and that people fly here all the time. Neither one of them had an issue, so I flew this flight that was covering the town, and I fly another flight that's over the beach area, which is still on my computer. I'll be uploading it at some point. And I flew that with police right there. They were just down the road in their truck. They ended up driving away, and then coming back down as I was leaving. But anyhow, I just wanted to make sure I'm not going to have issues. Different countries have different laws, and Mexico does have some drone laws that have been put in place. However, it seems that they're not readily enforced. It's not a police issue, which is a lot of people's main thing. Is that and I see in videos from the States sometimes Police get involved with people flying drones, but it's actually an FAA matter unless you invade somebody's privacy, you're harassing somebody. Um, if you're trespassing, which means if you're on foot on somebody's property, not flying over their property because nobody owns their airspace with the exception of restricted airspace and airports. Um, and so there's a whole lot of factors in there that I'm trying to address here that I take into account when I fly. I'm not suggesting anybody else fly locations that I do or fly like I do or anything like that. Everyone's got to make their own conscious decisions, and hopefully I'm not losing you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying this little spiel I'm giving you here, because I just there's a lot of stuff I just wanted to get out in the open on this. I don't see any danger in flying over a city like this if you're responsible and you've done your pre-flight checks. Basically, you make sure that your controller is charged, your tablet or phone is charged, your drone is fully charged, you check your calibration, and calibrate in new spots. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people think that's a bad idea. They say, oh, you're going to risk screwing it up. Well, if you confirm your calibration by spinning in that circle and that little shimmy left and right, you don't have to do that, I don't think, but I just do anyway, just to make sure everything's staying good. And you're all set. I had a bad calibration several weeks ago. I was flying over by Hamilton, and sure enough, the calibration was off a bit. I just landed it and recalibrated. Everything was perfect, but I found that out on my little test. And that's it. That's pretty much going to wrap up the video, guys. Sorry it was that kind of a video. You know what I mean? I've got lots of videos to bring from my trip to Mexico, so we'll have a bit more positive. But this is just some stuff that's been irking me, and I wanted to get it out there. So if you did enjoy the video, I would appreciate a like, maybe a share, something like that. Follow me on Facebook so you can see what I'm doing on there. The link's on my thing, on the description, whatever. Alright guys, we will see you next time, and I will make the next video a little more fun with what I'm talking about. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you soon.